Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. I'm Ashten, the face behind Ashten Stitches, and welcome to another video. I was trying to think of what I wanted to film this week. I don't have a tutorial that was just ready yet, so I was like, oh, what is something that I can talk about maybe? And I recently got a comment asking about if I could show anything for amigurumi for beginners. Now, if you've seen my channel, you know that I do not do amigurumi. I don't make tutorials for it. I don't make patterns for it. I don't feel that I am super qualified to make patterns about plushies or anything like that. But I will say that I have made a ton of plushies in the past, and I have learned a lot of things. I have found things that work really well for me that I think would work really well for beginners. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go over 8 tips and tricks for getting used to amigurumi if you're a beginner, getting into the plushie making, and all of that fun stuff. 2 quick little things though. I first of all apologize for the lighting. It's a little bit weird right now. It's a very gloomy day out and this is the best time that I could film, so we're just gonna work with it. And then second, I have all of my notes on my phone, so if I have to like look down or look to the side or anything, that's what I'm looking at. But let's go ahead and hop into the very first tip that I have. So when it comes to doing amigurumi, making plushies, things like that, you always want to have a smaller hook than is recommended on your yarn label. You will see this for basically every single plushie pattern that there is out there. You will want to have a smaller hook size. Using a smaller hook than what's recommended will help to make your stitches nice and tight and also hide all the stuffing that you're going to be putting into it. Because the last thing that we want is stuffing poking through all the holes of crochet and just making it a horrible experience. The rule of thumb that I kind of follow is that you should go down at least 1 hook size from what is recommended on the yarn. So if you are using a yarn that recommends a 5mm hook, try out a 4mm hook and see if that really works for your tension and all of that. For me, I like to have super tight stitches and I just want to minimize as many holes as possible. So I tend to use about a 3.5mm hook for sometimes if I'm feeling like things are just a little bit too tight, but that's a pretty good range for me. Definitely check your yarn label, go down a hook size, and you can move on from there. My next tip, and this one's a little bit of a controversial one, at least in the crochet community, is for plushies. I think that it is super duper crucial to learn magic circles, or also otherwise known as the magic loop or the magic ring. You might have heard that if you're a beginner, you should do a chain 2 and then work into the first stitch to make your first round of a plushie. And I just genuinely think that a magic circle it looks better. It performs better, like in the long run for durability, and I just think that it's a lot easier than people make it out to be. And let's say for you, you think that it's really hard to make a magic circle. I get it, but trust me, try and learn it the best that you can because it is going to change your life once you get it down. It'll make your plushies just look so much better. It'll have a much smaller hole on the bottom or wherever it's at, and it just looks a lot better to me, and it's a really good skill to have, especially if you're making things like granny squares later on, or if anything like that requires a circle. It's such a key thing in my opinion. Learning magic circles from the get-go is going to completely change your plushie making, and I highly recommend trying it out. I don't have any tutorials on plushies, but if you want to know how to do a magic circle, check out any of my granny square tutorials. I have book sleeves that go into granny squares. I always go over a magic ring beforehand. It's just such a good piece of knowledge to have. So highly recommend a magic circle. My third tip for you is to learn the right and wrong sides of your pieces. Some stitches don't really have a right and wrong, but a lot of plushies you are using single crochets, and single crochet does have a right and a wrong side. And especially if you are working in the round, you're going to have more prominent stitches and then really flat stitches. And so you should look to see what is the right side and the wrong side. On the right side, you're going to have more defined stitches. They're going to be your little V's that you make, and it's what is going to be shown to everybody. It's going to be the thing that everyone sees first. So you want to make sure that you know what side that is. And then you can have the wrong side hiding on the inside where your stuffing will be. No one's going to see it. You can hide all of your ends in there and everything. And it's just a really good tip to have. Like, knowing which side is right and wrong is going to make your plushies just look a lot better. Crocheting arounds does make it a little bit trickier because obviously especially when you first do like your magic ring, you do your first few rows and it starts to like flip in and out of itself, and it's like, oh gosh, which which side needs to be on the inside. Really learn how to determine which side is correct. I use the word correct loosely though. I mean, you can really do whatever you want, but if you want your plushies to look more professional and just look a lot nicer, definitely figure out which side has more prominent stitches. I will be sure to insert like a little clip here that shows you the right side and the wrong side. It just makes the world of a difference knowing which side is which. So I've gone ahead and made a little sample for you on making part of an amigurumi piece. This is just me making a circle. It would continue up and make a full circle. This is to show you your right and wrong sides. So let's say you've gotten to this point. You don't know if you should flip it this way or if you should flip it this way. One way to be able to tell if you're doing a magic ring is your wrong side will have the tail of your magic ring. But you can also just see the way that your stitches look. This side is considered the right side, and you can see that my stitches are very pronounced. They look pretty good. And if you flip it over, you can see that these are super flat. They don't really have any stitch definition. So this would be considered the wrong side. So what you would want to do is pop that right side out so that you have your right side facing outwards and your wrong side on the inside. And then you would just continue around and around for however much you need. My next tip is one that I think is super duper important, but it is all about stitch markers. Now for stitch markers, you don't have to use anything fancy or whatever. You can get the little like stitch markers that are like a little pin. It looks like a safety pin or whatever, but you could use a paper clip. Sometimes if I'm lazy, I will just use a piece of scrap yarn as my stitch marker, but stitch markers are so important, especially if you're working in the round for an amigurumi piece. Counting your stitches is so huge, and that's why I use stitch markers, because sometimes I'm not good at counting and I don't really think about it. I lose count easily. If I have my point set with a stitch marker of where the beginning of my round is, I can go back and I can count again from there. It's super important. Unlike with garment making or like pot holders or whatever, if you miss a stitch, you can just add it in a little bit later. You're not really gonna notice it. It's no big deal. But with amigurumi, it makes the world of a difference if you miss a stitch. Not only can it make it look a little bit weird, but it can completely throw off the rest of your plushie. If you're making something that's in the shape of a circle or an oval, it's really gonna misshapen your shape there. It's just super important to keep track of your counting. So using stitch markers are super important. So for me, I always will place a stitch marker in my very first stitch of that next round. I will crochet in the round all the way to that stitch marker again, take it out, place my last stitch, and then I can just do that over and over again, and it is just such a huge help. Stitch markers are also really great to use if you need to keep track of how many rows you're using. So you can place a stitch marker for every 5 rows, every 10 rows. That way you can go back and see how many rows you've done without having to like super keep track of it. I am not that type of person. I will forget what my stitch markers mean if they are in rows. So I actually use an app. I have 2 apps actually that I highly recommend to use. The one that I use mainly for basically all of my projects, whether it's amigurumi or not, is Knit and Row Counter. I will make sure to put a little thing here for you so that you can see what it looks like. But I use that one to keep track of my rows. You're able to go in and add different projects for different things, and it'll keep track of all of your row counts, and it is super helpful. Like I said, I forget where I'm at all the time, and that thing has just really helped me keep track of all of my rows. Another new one that recently came out is called Fiber Friend. This one I saw on TikTok, and I just think that it's so aesthetically pleasing, and I just think it's super cute. It also has like, I think it's like you can buy it for $5 and use different features, but the free version is super useful as well. It's just a row counter. It's got a couple of rulers on the side, so you can, use the rulers to check for gauge or anything. Highly recommend that one as well. But those are the 2 apps that I recommend to use for keeping track of your rows. I just think that it's super helpful. The next little tip or trick that I have for you is to use invisible decreases. Even as a beginner, I think that you should learn how to do an invisible decrease. It's a great tool to have. A lot of times with amigurumi, you are making a circle or an oval, and you have to start with making increases, then you continue for a bit, and then you have to decrease for the top. And to make that look good, an invisible decrease is your best friend. Once I learned about invisible decreases, it changed my amigurumi game. I was making a bunch of plushies beforehand, and you could see on the outside what it looked like when I would decrease. It would just have like a little extra bump. And for normal people, that's not a big deal, but I like to make my plushies look really nice, and that just wasn't doing it for me. So then I learned how to do an invisible decrease, and it is so simple. It's just like a regular increase. You're just going through the front loop of both stitches instead. What that does is you are covering up that front portion and leaving a bump on the back, so that's going to be hidden by your stuffing. It's going to be on the inside. No one will see that, and it looks nice and clean on the front. Like I mentioned, invisible decreases are incredible to know. They make your pieces just look a lot nicer, and they're a lot easier than you might think. So I'm going to make an invisible decrease in the next 2 stitches here. So what you would do is you would insert your hook through that first stitch under both loops, grab your yarn, pull through, and then you would go under the next stitch, both loops, grab your yarn, pull through, and then pull through all 3. That's your basic decrease. But you can see that it just kind of looks a little bit obvious. So an invisible decrease, instead of going through both loops underneath, we are just going to go through that first loop. So you can see that I am in the first loop, that second loop is right behind it. I'll grab my yarn, pull that through, and then I'll go into the first loop of the next stitch as well. Yarn over and pull through, and then I'll pull that closed. And now you can see that this stitch is popping out a little bit more than this one. This is why I think that invisible decreases just look so much nicer. This next tip I have is like a little mini thing. It's not super huge to know, but let's say that you are changing colors in your amigurumi in the round, right? You don't really want it to have like this weird little jump up and it just not look cohesive. So I always suggest changing your color in the last stitch before you start your new color. Color changes in general can be kind of tricky in amigurumi, and so if you just change it right before you're going to start your new color, it'll make it look a lot more seamless. What I will do is I will crochet my last stitch in my first color, but I won't finish it all the way. I will have 2 loops on my hook still. Then I will take my new color, drop the old color, and put that new color on my hook and just pull it through those 2 loops to change colors. And then from there, I'm able to just continue on with the new color. I use that technique for color changes with basically anything at this point. It just makes things a lot easier. You don't have a bunch of knots and everything, and it just looks really nice. Let's say that I want to change colors from this green to a new color, so this orange. The way that I like to do it, and this is the way that I use for every single thing when I'm changing colors, is I will insert my hook into that very last stitch. I will do my normal stitch, but I won't finish the stitch. So I've got 2 loops on my hook left. I'm going to drop the old color. I will grab my new color, place that on my hook, and then I will simply pull through those 2 loops with my new color. You might have to go in and tighten up your stitch a little bit. Once you've done that, you can just go ahead and start using your new color. And I just think that this is so much better than a lot of other ways because it's nice and seamless and it looks really good. I apologize if the setting has changed or if anything looks a little bit off compared to what it was. I just had to switch out my battery, my camera died, and it just happens. So we'll just move on to the next tip, which is a super duper important one. This one is probably one of the biggest ones. Do not, and I cannot stress this enough, do not use fluffy yarn when you're starting out with amigurumi. I know that it's going to be super hard to stay away from it. You'll see all these creators making these beautiful plushies with a super fuzzy yarn or a fluffy yarn, and it's like, oh, I want to make that too. It seems like it's really fun to work with, but let me tell you from experience, it is a nightmare. When using a fluffy yarn, you can't see your stitches. You can't see anything. You just have all this fuzz or fluff that is in front of you. And basically, for me at least, I have to feel for my stitches. And when you're starting out, that's really hard. If you don't know much of what you're doing, feeling around for a stitch instead of just being able to see it in front of you is really, really difficult, and a fluffy yarn is not going to help that. If you're just starting out with amigurumi, I highly suggest using like a chenille yarn or a velvet yarn. Blanket yarn is really great because it's really big. You can also use acrylic yarn and cotton yarn. Just try to stay away from all those fluffy yarns. I know it's going to be super hard, but don't start out with a fluffy yarn. I did that and it made me feel super discouraged and like I could never make plushies. Do a few with the chenille yarn or blanket yarn or whatever. Get used to that first. Get used to how your stitches look and how they feel. And then you can always move on to fluffy yarns, but do not start with them. I cannot stress that enough. And now for my last tip, and probably my most controversial one, is yarn under versus yarn over. There's a huge debate in the crochet community for amigurumi on if you should yarn under or yarn over for your stitches. So what's the difference? What is a yarn over? What is a yarn under? A yarn over is your basic stitch. So if you're doing a single crochet, you are inserting your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through two, right? It's great. You can use it for anything, and that will create a V-stitch on the front of your work. A yarn under is where you are inserting your hook, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 2 loops on the hook, yarn under, pull through 2. What this does is it makes your stitches more pronounced, makes it look more like an X, but it just makes them look a little bit more noticeable. But also a pro to the yarn under is it makes your stitches a little bit tighter. So if you remember from the first tip, we want our stitches to be tighter so that we can hide all of our stuffing in it. We don't want stuffing to poke out. We want our stitches to look clean and to make sure that there are no holes in our piece. And in my opinion, yarning under is a game changer. I do not yarn under in any other circumstance other than making plushies. I just think that the stitches look a lot cleaner. It looks more seamless. It just makes your holes non-existent. I really truly love using yarn under. Once I learned about yarning under, I have never gone back when it comes to making plushies. But keep in mind, this is completely up to personal preference. If you don't like the way that yarn under looks, don't do it. Use yarn over. They are both really great. It's just you can find your preference for one or the other. So I've made a couple of swatches for you guys so that you can see the difference between a yarn under and a yarn over. My green swatch right here is yarning under, while my orange swatch is yarn over. So you can see that there are some pretty big differences right off the bat. You can see that you can really see that spiral and it just looks a lot flatter. Whereas with my yarn under, you can really see the stitch definition on that whole piece. It's also not super apparent in the video here, but I hope that you can see that my green swatch is just the tiniest bit smaller than my orange swatch. Now, these are both the exact same yarn, just different colors. I used the exact same hook. I used a 4mm, and you can see that yarning under just makes your stitches a little bit more tighter than yarning over. So that will equal a smaller piece. For yarning over, if I pull this apart, you don't really see anything through it, but you can see that it's just a little stretchier. Whereas with my yarning under, this is a pretty stiff piece, and there's no way you're gonna see any holes in this. So it's really up to preference if you would rather do a yarn under or a yarn over, but they are both great. I just prefer yarning out under. I think that it looks a lot nicer. Let me also demonstrate a yarn over versus a yarn under. So for yarning over, you're basically just going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. That's just your basic single crochet. For yarn under though, which I think that I said it a little bit backwards in the main video, but I will go ahead and show you the correct way here. You're going to do it a little bit differently. So you're going to insert your hook, and instead of yarning over, so your yarn is going over your hook is going to go over your yarn. So this is yarning under because my yarn is underneath my hook. I will yarn under and then pull through, 2 loops on the hook, and then I yarn over. Some people also yarn under here, but I just yarn over on the second half of it. I'll go ahead and show you that again. I'll insert my hook, yarn under, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, then yarn over and pull through 2. And I just think that yarning under is so underrated. There's a lot of hate on it, but I think that it's so good. Those are my top 8 tips and tricks for making amigurumi as a beginner. I hope that they were super helpful in your crochet plushie adventure. I think that making plushies is super fun. I don't do it as much as I used to, but they are really fun to make. And if you are just starting out, don't feel discouraged. You've totally got this. But go ahead and leave a comment down below on which trick surprised you the most. Which one was like, whoa, I didn't know that that could change my life. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you also have any other tips, leave them down below. Let's share our different tips and tricks with each other so that we can all make plushies that are very exciting for us and are super easy to make. But that's all I have for you today, and I hope that you enjoyed. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe down below and hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I have a new video coming out. Make sure to follow me on Instagram to keep up to date with all of my newest things, keep up to date on if I have new patterns coming out, all of that fun stuff. If you liked this video, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.